Hello, hello. Salut à tous. Donc, je me présente Reynaldo Mendoza. Je vais présenter déjà en avance mon invité Azad Abbasi de chez Genius XR. Si vous êtes ici, en ce moment, vous êtes à notre premier événement devant une audience. Donc, vous pouvez vous applaudir tous. Il va y avoir un petit peu de feedback ici. Entre autres, je vais présenter Yellow Sea Podcast avant qu'on rentre dans la discussion du Metaverse et pourquoi on veut renforcer les créateurs de demain. Donc, ça, c'est la mission d'aujourd'hui pour que j'imagine que tout le monde doit être déjà familier, doit avoir une connaissance novice intermédiaire selon certains experts, j'imagine, ici dans la pièce. Si vous n'êtes pas expert, c'est pour ça qu'on a une personne ici. Moi, je me positionne comme étant une personne curieuse. Je suis un marketeur, mais comme vous pouvez voir, je suis un podcasteur, je suis un animateur. Fait que je vais faire en sorte que vous allez profiter de cet événement d'une heure, une première qu'on fait, que vraiment l'expérience et qu'est-ce qui est important pour nous à ce niveau-là. Il y a aussi le podcast. Pour introduire, nous sommes le podcast le plus diversifié au Québec sur l'entrepreneuriat et les affaires. Et on le fait en bilingue aussi. So, we're in Montreal, we're bilingual, and I need to read the room. Just raise your hand who's more native English. Woo! Okay.
Can we count?
And we got the ambient now.
No, gardez-les plus haut, on veut compter.
Yeah, just want to see hand raise.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So we're maybe like, how many people do we have?
It's like I counted 14 plus, I'm going to be biased, plus 20.
I just want to see tout le monde qui est en français ici, juste pour voir les mains, la différence. Levez vos mains si c'est le français, votre langue prioritaire, maternelle.
On est presque égal.
Oui, on est presque égal. Nous autres, on s'est entendu de faire ce podcast-là en anglais. Donc, pour tous les francophones ici, est-ce que vous êtes à l'aise qu'on aille en anglais? Vous êtes confortable? Parfait. Hey, François.
Vous allez avoir du meilleur contenu, je vous garantis.
Oui, exactement. C'est plus dynamique, vocabulaire aussi. This is what we do. So we're just going to keep going in English and thank you everyone for your comprehension. And if you don't understand what's going on, just raise your hand. One more thing too, for everyone that doesn't know you, I'm almost done with this introduction. Feel free to go, I invite you to go follow us on our Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, Yellow Sea Podcast. And at the same time, I'm pretty sure a lot of you people are going to have questions during this podcast conversation. So in our social media, in our stories on Instagram, there's going to be a poll, a box. Feel free to ask the question and put your name next to it so I can give you a shout out. So towards the end, I'm going to answer to everyone's answer, but as many as possible. If not, just keep in mind that this is going to be until 6:30. At 6:45, I believe so, Mr. Azad is going to take over for Q&A. So if you have some questions I'll not answer here, they're going to be answered after. So don't forget, just don't worry about it.
Yeah, so there's going to be a full Q&A with a presentation, Web3. One of our associates is also going to be there. So ask your questions away, no problems. And here he is, Mr. Amin.
Amin just made it to us. So like I said, whenever you have a question, feel free to go on our Instagram, Yellow Seat, and follow us and ask your question. We'll answer it right away. So let's begin this podcast. So welcome to Yellow Seat, Azad.
Hey, thank you for having me, man. And I love your seats. I love your concept. I've been following you for a while, so I had to come, man. I had to come
I've
see
been following you for
what you're
a while.
up to.
Yeah, thank you. And one thing I want to say too, like, it's a good thing that you canceled a month ago. We were supposed to have this event a month ago, but it wasn't going to be as packed as this. We didn't do any promotion. And I'm glad you completely like canceled on me because you had an important meeting, but now you get to have this event with us. The screen is blank behind us. So before we begin, I just want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Labs, SNC Lavalin, for giving us this space, this creative space so we can all interact together. This is the main thing. Nice sound effect. At the end, too, keep in mind that once the Q&A is over, we want to give a shout out to Rosemont because they're going to provide us with the drinks. So for those who are not familiar with Rosemont Distillery de Montréal, it's a local brand that we support. They support us, and this is the goal, to support each other. This is how the creators are going to empower each other. Like next.
It's always about entrepreneurship, right?
It's always.
So I've been following you, and I see how you're an entrepreneur, and it just makes sense for Rosemont to sponsor
Definitely.
you.
And that's the thing. That's the purpose of the podcast initially, to be able to empower local businesses. And now that we have, a crowd, we have an audience, and we have these conversations, we get to empower each other even more. As a creator, I never seen myself as a creator just to begin. It just happened pandemic-wise.
So, like, what were you before then? If you weren't a creator, you were a salesperson? You were a marketer?
No, I was a marketer. I have my business. So I have my business, my agency marketing. I do a lead gen. I'm a lead gen expert. So that's where it began. After pandemic started, I had some more free time, let's just say.
So you were a creator, though. I like to beg to differ, right? So you are a creator. Our CFO, right, keeps saying that he's not a creator. But I tell him every time you're on TikTok or you're somewhere commenting, you're creating content. Well, that's how the platform sees it. The data, ones and O's, it's data.
Exactly.
It's content. And so we're all content creators. All of us here, we're all content creators.
And the thing, unfortunately, is that we're boosting these big companies, these big corporations, social media platform with our own content, and some of us not really getting what we deserve in return. And that's a lot about what we're going to get into the Web3, right?
Yeah, I don't want to get into it right away because it's a subject that I will bang out. So I'll let you lead.
Go ahead. So I want to know about yourself for everyone that doesn't know you yet. Like, how did you get to this? Because I know I've been following for years now, and it's funny that it took all these events for me to even get in contact with you now. I was a fan of you guys, Genius XR. I felt like, you know what, here in Montreal, we're a small city. We are very advanced. People know us. We're like an innovative pole internationally. And I saw these guys, Genius XR. I was like, yo, these guys are doing something ahead of, let's say, what this own city is doing.
Yeah, so the city is beautiful. I love the city. The culture is great. I'll backtrack a little bit just about myself. So I'm a serial entrepreneur. I never worked for anyone in my life. I've always worked for myself. Since I was in school, I used to be a DJ. I used to burn CDs, do parties, flyers, started an agency with my associate Richard. We've done so much, going from being an agency all the way to being XR pioneers in 2014 and now being Metaverse pioneers and Web3, right? So I won't go through every little loop that I've been through, but essentially in '99, I built a website with my 4-pixel camera and Flash and Photoshop. Then I graduated to being a videographer around 2004 with Richard. Then we decided to open an agency in 2008. 2013-ish, we sold that agency, which was primarily a graphics and flyers and stuff like that. And we totally pivoted to only technology, being, apps, websites, obviously websites, apps, and then 360 videos, and then virtual reality, and then augmented reality, and now, this hype word that everybody uses, Metaverse. And
what is it?
I could kind of get into it if you want, So that's
exactly.
That's me.
What is it?
Serial entrepreneur. I love entrepreneurship. I love working with people. I love to help them, and I love to be successful. And success doesn't always mean money, but yeah, money helps, so you could do things and have R&D departments, all kinds of really cool things. I could get into all of that, but I think we want to jump into the Metaverse, right?
Yeah. So we decided to have this podcast based on understanding what's the Metaverse, what's the Web3. For those who doesn't know, he's going to answer, but it's very fascinating because now that I'm getting into it as a marketer, I like to understand really what's the new things. A little bit on myself. I've been seeing these economic cycles going on, and when I was the last cycle that occurred, I was too young to understand really how can you take advantage of this. But one thing I told myself, you know what, the next cycle, because these things comes in 8 to 12 years, practically this one came in late. We're about to feel it right now based on what they say. But I told myself, I'll be older by then, and once I'm older, I want to take advantage of this wave. And now that we're in this position, we're much older, more mature, more experienced, more knowledge, bigger contacts, we have access to these venues and to spread the words. This is our time. This is where the creator gets to take over, really. What bigger companies have been feeding us, and I guess you tell me if I'm going the wrong way, but social media really brought us, let's say, Web 2.0, which is interacting one-to-one as the user with the brand, with the corporation. But now in Web 3, the creator get to take over. Is that right?
Yeah, well, yeah, let me backtrack a little bit. So let's go back to metaverse and what it really means. So it's a big buzzword, right? Metaverse is nothing new. It was mentioned in 1980, I think 1990 or 88 with the Snow Crash book. It was mentioned a bunch of times. I even have a good friend that has a company called Metaverse. So it's nothing new. What happened is that Mark Zuckerberg decided to change the name of his company from Facebook to Meta, right? So when that happened, all of us were like, okay, well, first of all, you're not allowed to own that name.
Yeah, it's like owning the internet.
You can't do that.
Like, internet.
Okay, well, that's why it's not called Metaverse. It's called Meta. Okay, cool. So he's Meta. What does that mean for the rest of the population? It means that if Facebook is doing this change, that means that there is something there, right? And he doesn't do these decisions based on his dreams or whatever. He's like looking at his neighbor and saying, hey, let's do VR. That's not what's happening, right? What's happening is that he purchased Oculus in 2014. He did all these new improvements based on what's happening in the market. There's a next version of the internet. That internet is going to be built with gaming engines, and it's going to be gamified. So in 1999, I remember pitching my idea, which was a website, e-commerce, to this company called Bentley. They sell luggage. And my dad used to have a little store. He used to sell luggage. And I told Bentley, hey, why don't I build your website? And they laughed at me. So no one's going to buy stuff online. I built the website, sold it to them 3 years later, which was very good for me. And I moved to Vegas. I did all kinds of things. But just to tell you, big corporations sometimes don't know what the next thing is, and some of them do. Now, Mark does know that Metaverse is the next step. The only problem is that nobody likes Meta. Nobody likes Facebook. And that's because of the whole thing that you talked about, Web 2, right? So, quick recap. Now we're like crossing everything, right? The word Metaverse in itself means spatial computing. Now add Web 3. At Genius XR, we like to call this the digital Big Bang. Okay. Right? What is the digital Big Bang? It's trends, and now all the trends are what? Web 3, NFT, blockchain, security, data ownership, data privacy. These are all the trends that are really rising. On the other side, you have the technologies. So 5G, augmented reality, virtual reality, all of these, right? User-generated platforms, all of that stuff. These two crossing together is the next version of the internet.
Exactly.
So you could call it Metaverse, you could call it whatever you want. It's the internet. IoT, Industry 4, Industry 20, whatever these buzzwords are. I don't like to use them, but I have to call them something, right? So let's call them the Metaverse. Let's say that it's the Metaverse, and this Metaverse is the next version of the internet. Now, that's cool. On the other side, you have Web 3. What does Web 3 really stand for? Most people are really, confused about it. Let me break it down in a very, very simple way, right? The first time I went on the internet, that version where I built that website for Bentley, bentley.com, back in 99, that was Web 1. All I could do was push my content, and people could come and look at it. Say, okay, I'm on Alta Vista, I'm on this website, and I could see something. I can't comment on it, I can't like it, I can't interact with it, I could just look at it. So Web 1 equals reading, right? You could read the internet.
It's a static image to it.
Image or whatever you want. It could be words, text,
very
videos.
static, there was no dynamic.
But you're just reading it, right? Web 2, the rise of social media, is where you could actually write as well. So you could read it and write. So you could put a picture on Facebook and I could comment on your picture. So now, who is the creator? It's the user. So version 1, the creator was also the publisher. So me, Azad, I have to take a picture of this and make a blog that's about alcohol, put the picture there, and that's it. So I'm the creator, I'm also the publisher. Version 2, Facebook is now the publisher, or YouTube, or MySpace that majorly failed.
Attention marketplace.
And MySpace failed because it wasn't mobile, but that's another conversation. But let's say Web 2, right? So Web 2 was the platform doesn't create the content. It's the user that creates the content. So all of us here, right? I don't care where you are, how you do it. If you have Facebook on your phone or if you have any of these apps, you're a creator. Because you're the one building the platform, right? You're the one creating the content for the platform. They created the platform, maintain the platform, you create content. So Web 2 is about user-generated content. It's really about that. And back when all of this happened, I was just starting to make content, like videos. We're talking about 2006. Me and Rich were making videos. We've really noticed real quick that, Web 2 is not for us. So let me finish. Let me do that arch. So Web 2, read, write. Web 3, I mentioned the digital Big Bang with all the trends, right? One of the big trends is blockchain, NFTs. And Richard at our team loves to say this all the time because it's true. Our economy right now, the digital economy is broken, right? It's the broken attention economy. Right?
How do you see that, bro? What do you mean broken attention?
So broken attention, what do we mean? So now if you open your Facebook app, you will see a bunch of clickbait stuff, right? And most of the times if you click on it, it's not actually what's in the article. Now go and find the blogger and tell them, why did you put this clickbait title? He's going to say, because Facebook makes me do it. What do you mean? Well, if I don't put a clickbait title, nobody clicks on it. Why does nobody click on it? Because of the algorithms from Facebook. So now if I ask you back, who created this broken attention economy? Right? So we are dumbing ourselves down to be okay with the algorithms, which is totally wrong, right? The algorithm should work for us, not the other way around. But right now, like I started at YouTube in 2005. In 2007, they send us this thing called the creator book, right? It's like you have to follow these steps,
these guidelines on how to
do a 15-second intro, do the title like this, do that like that. So literally, I was working for YouTube for free. And that's when I understood. It was about 2011 I understood that, hey, and I was kind of late, like the big owners of the platforms knew. And I said, hey, I'm not creating a product here. I am the product. So simple. I am the product. It's my data. I'm the slave now for this platform. Right? So, okay, cool. Creators got empowered with Web 2. But the rise of NFTs and blockchain showed us that they're hungry for more. They don't want the broken attention economy. They're sick of being led with clickbait and fake stuff. All of us. We just don't say it out loud. And the second thing is we're sick of all these big platforms becoming rich by really using us. That's really what it is. So Web 3 is the rise of ownership and trust. It's not about crypto. Yes, crypto is part of it. But Web 3 is about ownership and trust. I went too long about this, and I know we're kind of limited in time.
Yeah,
but,
no, that's about the issue.
This is all very important stuff. The broken attention economy is what the revolution is. We don't want it no more. We want to be the owners of our content and our data.
No, definitely, and that's one thing that really got me interested on going further into this world. Like I said, I want to be part of the next wave, and the next wave right now is for us. We're doing content over here. And there are people learning based on things that we are doing. And I find that at this point, me, the more marketing guy behind it, is like, how can we monetize behind it? So now looking at, the Web3, you have all these options. You get to own your own things. And I've been, surfing into my mind, like, really, what else can we do? And I was thinking about exactly that, because right now, Facebook makes a lot of money, but based on our data. And on the next level is basically your data that you're going to choose, really, if you want it to be sold or you want it kept private. That's one thing I understand that we could do in Web3. Me, as a marketer, I see it that you know what? There's going to be so much more opportunities for us to just start owning everything and monetize from it. And the crypto becomes the currency behind it. The blockchain become, let's say, the trust. And the NFT is just really how we're going to move along, right?
Yeah, so blockchain brings transparency, right? So because it's not open source, but I mean, it's open in terms of the ledgers and everything is there. You don't know exactly who's doing what, even that you could find out, but it's all transparent. And the way it's programmed, blockchain is a programming language, the way it's programmed, you can't actually change it, right? And it doesn't mean that blockchain is good everywhere. You know, at our agency now, we're more product-based. We have products, but we used to be very much service. And my customers would say, I want to do this and that. I would say, if you can't answer why, then we're not doing it. So why do you want to use blockchain? If you have a good answer, then we'll do it. It can't just be a trend. No, like I said, right? So the digital Big Bang is about the trends, picking the right trends, but using the right technology with a real why. And the why in this case, well, for me, it's to empower the creators of tomorrow. How? By giving them Web3 metaverse solutions.
And the resources. So let's move along. So what are the metaverses are right now available? I know I signed up to Upland, let's see, Decentraland. And these one, all right, they're still in a 2D, let's say, surface, because we interact with our device. I know you guys tested with VR, AR. And like, does the metaverse, let's say, needs to have devices to be in it? Or we can move along directly like we do right now with our mobile device?
Good question. No, the metaverse is the next version of the internet. The internet, when I tell you internet, do you associate it to a device right away? Maybe, like your phone, right? But it's not only accessible through the phone. So the device is just a device. The metaverse is the next version of the internet. What do I mean by that? Like I said before, the 3D version, it's built with gaming engines. Currently, if you want to build a website, you could go on Wix, GoDaddy. If you're a bit more complicated and you know stuff, you'll go on Dreamweaver. The metaverse is the same, except that instead of Dreamweaver, it's Unreal Engine or it's Unity. It's built with high quality 3D interaction, gamified, you know, photorealistic, all these buzzwords that I could say, but essentially it's a 3D version of the internet. How do you access it? There's going to be many ways. There's going to be, obviously, your phone. The smartphones are still going to be around for at least 10 years, so we're not thinking that that's going to disappear in 1 or 2 days. VR has its own way of interacting, meaning that it's immersive, but do you have a headset?
No, I don't have a headset.
Well, there you go. So most of my friends don't, and I'm sure here a lot of people don't have headsets, but they're very interested by it. It has its own application. I see AR as a bigger, you know, entrance right now. So like TikTok, right? TikTok is an augmented reality, social media, video creation tool, you know, app that gives you all the powers in a few seconds to create really fast. So 20 years ago, it was really hard to make a video. Today, you just open your phone, click a button, make a video. Democratizing the creation of video and sharing it, that's where TikTok wins. Facebook can't do it right now, right? They're falling behind.
So, among the metaverses right now, are you building something?
Yeah, so I can't really talk about it, but yeah, we're building something huge. And all I could say is that our mission is to empower the creators of tomorrow.
One thing too that I took notice, like, is that in the metaverse, what we want to do is be able to match the physical world with the virtual world. And that's where the devices come in hand to help us, you know, like make that transition and work together. And how do you see, let's say, behavior, human behavior? Because there's going to be people that are just plugged all the time into these devices. And we'll find, let's say, the metaverse to be a better place, more friendly. I get to speak with other people that understand of the planet, that understand me. We get to have our own avatar. And an avatar, what I like behind this is that if we get creative, an avatar in the metaverse is no longer, let's say, this human shape that we have. We could be, as we discussed earlier, you could be a chair.
You could be anything you want, really.
A yellow seat in the metaverse. But How do you see, let's say, the human behavior behind it, like interacting?
So,
because are we going worse? Because these people are already connected, are hooked.
Yeah, your question is kind of 2 or 3 prong actually, but one thing is behavior of humans, right? So human behaviors, my behavior, myself. So in average, baby boomers right now are watching about 6.5 hours of TV. So that's already happening. We're not trying to push something on people where they're not doing it. They're already sitting in front in a vegetable mode, watching something for 6.5 hours per week, right? That's a lot. And that's the average. Some people watch way more. Now, if I was to give you the same, in the same time, something that's more interactive, something that's more social, something that's more connected, right? So, unfortunately, COVID showed us that it's doable. We already knew this a long time ago, that you could connect with your friends, have your avatar, and almost have the same interaction. Now, we're not trying to replace life. Life is beautiful. You know, IRL, in real life, is beautiful. What we're trying to do is add the URL to it. So URL plus IRL should equal utopia, not dystopia. So what we're being presented is dystopia, and if you ask me, we're already in dystopia. Like, if people vote for their president based on posts that they see on Facebook, we're already in dystopia. So what we're trying to do is make it better. So, you know, my associate Richard and Beverly, they have a charity and they work with young ones, and they always tell me, like, Azad, it's not about complaining, it's about, you know, being an activist. Do what you're supposed to say. You know, you say that they're bad, well, do it. You know, I just didn't believe that I could back 20 years ago when Facebook didn't exist. But now I know I can, so I'm going to be an activist instead of just, you know, talking about it.
Let me ask you
Create
something. Did you see the study case of Domino's Pizza and Decentraland? Have anyone seen it? Are you familiar with it? Oh, we got one there. Do you want to hear it? It's very interesting because this is where I want to go in line, let's say, the opportunities. And I'll share this one, but I want to hear some of the opportunities that you might have. Domino's Pizza, they opened up this kiosk in the Decentraland. So basically what you can do is like your avatar is walking around, you're just playing around, interacting, doing what you have to do. Your real life, though, is hungry. So what they did is that you go get a pizza at this virtual kiosk in the Domino's Pizza, you make your order, your toppings, everything, the full-blown experience that you get to do on the application. 30 minutes later, it knocks at your door, the real life. So you still get to, this is where I see the merger of the real life and the virtual coming together, is that I get to order my Domino's Pizza and I get to deliver it in real life while I haven't even moved, but I'm still interacting with the people.
Yeah, definitely. So I kind of slept on the second part that I want to get into, is like URL plus IRL, right? So the first example of it, and I don't know how much people are informed about smart cities, but there's this thing we call digital twins, right? So what you do is you create a digital twin of a city or anything. I did this for Magna International back in 2016, where we took one of their plants, we made a digital version of it, a digital twin. So now instead of like looking at our KPIs and work ethics and engineering and all that in real life, we do it in the virtual, we make it the best it could be, and then we bring it into the real life. Another example, the Hong Kong airport has a digital twin. So as soon as you get to Hong Kong, you have a digital avatar of you that's walking in the digital version of it, and they know exactly what's going on, how many people, what's the passages, everything. And so now they put AI on it to make your route in the airport better. That's a simple example. And then like Tesla, they have digital twins in the virtual world. Mm-hmm. So they'll take, let's say, Santa Monica, create a digital version, put the actual Tesla car in there with all the real information, population, everything, weather, the whole thing. Then they'll test that car in a virtual world instead of doing it
like the real data that Tesla has.
That's from the real world. Okay. So a digital twin is like a no-brainer, and this has been going on for a while. Except that now you could wear the headset and walk in it.
But that's
super
what they
cool.
Talking about digital twin. Are you on Upland?
Yeah.
So that's one of them, like where they copy like the real map of the world and put it online, and they unlock in city as you go.
So thing with that is that, first of all, you don't own the real, like the company doesn't own the real destination. So let's say that you own your property, you know, and now they're selling your property to a digital person that says that they might have, anyways, none of that makes sense.
But shouldn't you have an NFT? Let's say for example, hypothetically, I get to buy Montreal in Upland.
Yeah, but who owns Montreal at first, right?
But I guess
Like
it's Upland, the city, Upland, the world.
Well,
I get to buy, isn't that one person I guess to buy, let's say, one street block or something like that?
You could, but that's all fake. Like, it's going to disappear. None of this is going to stay.
You think it's not going to last?
Whatever you're seeing now is the first generation. These are the MySpaces.
Yeah, definitely.
Get it? So, Decentraland. Okay, I'm not saying no. Sandbox and Decentraland might go because they have Animoca.
So you don't believe in this one?
Not that I don't believe it. It's not built by people that build these things. It's built by crypto people.
So
right?
you
This
think
is built... Decentraland and Sandbox were built, yes, for 3D stuff, but it was mostly built for speculation and crypto.
So you think their purpose was just like exactly for crypto rather than, let's say, build a metaverse itself, a world where we can interact at the same time?
Yeah.
But they're like in New York, because I was exploring, let's say you could go to
So, but like ethically, right? Like I could open a new map and say, okay, well, I'm going to sell Montreal. But like, who gives me the power of doing that? There's no real backing. It's not real. It's fake. So let me just finish it. Is that once we get to the place where utility is going to come to smart contracts, when the city of Montreal is going to give the deeds for the lands with NFTs, then we could talk about that.
But do you think it has to work like that? Because this we're talking about something else. Like it's almost like a Wild West in these worlds. Let's say Twitter, for example, as a platform. That's like the most Wild West platform out them all. The one that has the less restriction. They even have porn.
Well, it has a less restriction because they don't make
money. But they do flag
have no
anything
following. 70% of it is chat bots. Twitter is the most fake platform ever.
Now that we
Jack Dorsey doesn't know how to do business. He owned Vine. He started Vine, which could have been TikTok, and he shut it down. Jack Dorsey is just a hipster, and he got lucky, yeah.
He did what he had to do.
He got lucky. He doesn't work that hard.
I wouldn't either at that stage.
No, I mean from the beginning.
No, all right, I understand. So all I'm trying to get is like, all right, if Upland, for example, because that's like the obvious, let's say, map that's available, digital twin from the Earth. I still disagree the fact that you cannot own Montreal there and
well, I mean, you could own it, but who gives the real value
Upland.
to it? Yeah, but who's Upland? What if they go bankrupt tomorrow?
Yeah, that's true. Celsius.
Like, who gives the real value? Because when you buy real land, there's a notary.
All right.
There's the government that backs it.
But that could be a business there. Open up a notary in... Would that work? Open up a notary in this type of metaverse.
So this is the future of what's happening. So in that future, there won't be any more notaries or accountants or lawyers. You'll have smart contracts.
But you can
So right now, my cousin just sold his house, and he got a really good price for it. And while it was happening, it was like a 3-week thing with the notary. The guy that was buying had a heart attack and didn't end up buying it. And as a joke, I was like, if it was a smart contract, the moment where he said yes, the transaction would have already been done.
So let's talk about maybe other type of metaverse that could be potential, you know, to generate opportunities, marketplaces.
Sorry.
Which one do we have? Which marketplace there is right now?
So there's a bunch of marketplaces depending on what you're looking at. So me, I'm more of a regular asset guy that used to do 3D stuff. So I would go on Turbo Squid, CG Trader, Unity Assets, Unreal Assets, YouTube maybe for tutorials. But none of these platforms actually pay me properly for what I'm doing. They all undercut me. They always undercut me. They don't give me what I deserve. And essentially, when they're sitting with their shareholders, with their advisors, they use me to raise more money. Me is you, is all of us here, right? They use us to show that they have data and to raise more money. But then what do? If you talk a bit too much on your yellow seats about some stuff that maybe they might not like, and freedom of speech is freedom of speech. I don't care what you're talking about. It's called freedom of speech for a reason, right? You're allowed to talk about what you want to talk about.
Exactly.
Now, obviously, you can't be violent and all those things, but freedom of speech is something. It has value. Our ancestors fought for this. So why is YouTube allowed to shut down my channel without telling me anything? This happened to a few of my customers. And it wasn't like if they were talking about crazy stuff. Maybe they talked about a movie in a bad way. As simple as that.
I might have like an obvious answer that you're going to tell me, but centralize or decentralize?
What do you mean? Like,
well, let's say which way of seeing, let's say, these platforms, the blockchain, for example. Should it be, do you think there's room? Because right now we all want to go decentralized. That's one of the purposes too.
Yeah, it's kind of impossible to go decentralized right away because of the way the world is built.
Would you rather go decentralized rather than centralized, or you still have some affinity, having a centralized system?
Hybrid, the best of both worlds. Because certain things you have to have a control on it, and certain things you want people to control. I'll give you an example. Like in a city like Montreal, you can't just go outside and do what you want. There are rules.
There are rules.
Right? But you're also free. You could have your own religion. You could do whatever you want, really. But you can't do those bad things. Who decides that? That's where it becomes ethical. And that's where DAOs are really interesting. Yeah. So decentralized autonomous organizations. This is like the new word for governance, basically. It's like a government. So the users could actually govern the platform or whatever they're doing.
But do you think eventually all the users are going to nominate, let's say this guy has a bigger voice and maybe takes better decision for all of us as a user? Now we're looking at a government control back to a decentralized system.
It's funny because you say that, and I get that we're like that in today's society, but why is it that we spend more time choosing fashion or what movie we're going to watch than the politics that run our life?
Want to belong?
Right? So we should spend time on the politics that run our lives a bit more than just giving it to someone. We should hand these dumb things like, what movie am I going to watch on Netflix? That should be handed to some AI thing. But who's running my life? I should take that decision.
Yeah. No, I understand what you mean, and I just want to be able to understand this. All right. Further down, one thing too that I took notice is this word has a lot of syllables, so I'll try to say interoperability. Do you know what it is?
Yes, so interoperability. Hard word to say when you want to say it really fast. Interoperability. Interoperability. So what is it? It's that basically everything you have somewhere follows you. So now if you have Facebook, right, you put your profile picture, it only follows you wherever Facebook owns it.
Meta belongs.
But it doesn't go to YouTube, doesn't go to your Gmail, doesn't go to these places, right? So interoperability means that if you were to have an avatar in Fortnite, it would follow you to Minecraft, it would follow you to, let's say, a PlayStation game, it would follow you to Decentraland, it would follow you to Meta, Horizon, whatever, right? That's what it means. If that's going to be achievable, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think a company like Meta is going to let that happen. However,
you think
there will be a protocol for it. So we're going to force it on the industry. Like guys like me are going to force the protocol because it's going to make sense for the industry. Just like HTML5 or HTTPS. Yeah.
But what I'm trying to find out behind this, like, how do you see, let's say, the system? Are we going near? Because you're saying like it might not happen. I think it could happen actually, but there's so much politics is going to be involved later on to how these systems.
So you mean decentralized, right? So,
yeah, exactly. Decentralized.
So essentially, the word decentralized, the important part to keep in mind is DeFi, decentralized financing. And that, my friend, you're going to have to convince governments and banks.
And you think that's
that
not going to happen?
Are used to a way of doing stuff. Well, example, the Federal Reserve, right? So they just printed a bunch of money in the last 3 years. If that was on a blockchain where you could see transparently what's going on, I don't think they would like that. And if they do, they're going to bring in their own, right? So it's coming. The coins that are backed by the governments. It's happening right now. The cryptos are coming out.
Yeah. All right. So
what I mean is that you can't actually have total decentralization. It's kind of impossible. Maybe we'll figure it out. I'm sure our team members are thinking about it right now.
I'm wondering if I'm way too optimistic thinking that we can achieve all these things together. And I find that you have more, let's say maybe some more rationality based because you have more knowledge than I in this topic. But I find like that, yeah, we'll be able to create, let's say, these worlds, and maybe we'll be able to exchange, have like the same avatar, have like, move around from one world to another. Like, I find that these things are going to be more possible. But I don't think I should rely on Meta to be, let's say, the precursor to this.
Yeah, so it's a good point you say. So when Apple was being invented by Steve Jobs, right, who did he hate? Obviously, Bill Gates, but way more than Bill Gates, it was IBM, right? So the big industry could never do the innovation, even if they wanted to. They're too big. It takes too much time. There's too many silos. So it's always the underdogs that are going to come and take it and push it forward. But they're always standing on bigger people's shoulders, right? So I'm not standing on my own shoulders. I'm going to stand on other people's shoulders. One of them could be AWS. Like, I could be using Amazon's servers. Why not? That infrastructure is already there. I'm not going to rebuild another infrastructure. So now it's to say, you know, just give us what's ours. The data is ours.
Data. And that's the thing, I guess, coming down to this. Just before, guys, does anyone have any questions so far? Just raise your hand. No, none. If you have anything, just go on the yellow seat story, write your answer, your question, sorry, and your name will. Okay.
It's about, you mentioned decentralize, like a new way of governance. And we already have a digital society, and it would become more important with the metaverse. We still have the real life, of course, but we'll have also a digital society. How do you think government will adjust if they do, or will they transform? There will be an impact on those people. They're usually late, but at the end of the day, they're finishing catching the bus, maybe.
Yeah, it's a really good.
What will happen with those people? Because they are the one managing. They are the governance of our life right now. So
Yes. So it's a good question, and that's why I kind of said to Ray, it's kind of impossible to fully be decentralized because of the infrastructures that already exist. One of them being the financial district, right? We have 12 big districts now in the world. I mean, 12 big industries, and the 13th one they want to have is crypto, but crypto goes against finance directly. Now, we don't even know who started Bitcoin. Yeah, we do, but we don't. All of this is still ambiguous to all of us. So it wouldn't be smart for me to answer that question because I don't know the answer. But what I could tell you is that it's almost impossible to convince governments if you're not being political, right? So this is all political, and I don't want to get into that. What my mission is to create something for the users. We've been every time we build stuff, we're always thinking of the governments. Why not think of the people for once?
Well, just to move along, what are going to be the opportunities for the creators? Because I know owning your own data is like the most important thing. I look forward to it. At the same time, myself, but let's say as the marketer, you want to have access to this data. What are the opportunities that are going to be available for the creators to begin?
First thing is, your data, but more important than that, before that, it's owning your assets, right? So when you upload this video to YouTube, you don't own it. They own it. And if they decide to take it down, they will take it down, right? You don't control this. Yes, you have a copy of it, but you don't control it. And you don't actually see how it's getting monetized. The exact dollar amount that they're making off your video, you don't see that. You only see what you're getting back, right? So what? I don't know. It's 4 cents per thousand or whatever they're giving now, 12 cents per RPM or whatever. Like, that's peanuts to what they're making.
But
right?
Of course.
Facebook last year made $73 billion of advertising money. Did you get anything from that?
Not at all.
Who ever got paid from Facebook?
They're
Nobody.
starting. They're the last one to the race.
Yeah,
I was
10 years
fine.
later, and they're gonna take 70%.
Even TikTok are making paying out more to creators.
So essentially, the first thing is you own your assets. You own what you've created. That is Web3 to me, and it's trust. It's about trusting.
Any ideas? Let's brainstorm some ideas. Oh, go ahead. Hi.
So, yes and no, right? So what we saw there is just a government taking a cryptocurrency to buy and sell certain things inside the country. It's not real governance. That's not a DAO. They're using someone else's currency. It's not different than if I was to say, I'm going to use the ruble today or the euro, which is almost worth nothing. Yeah, I mean, they're trading it, but it's not a decentralized government that's using a DAO to run their government. They're just using a currency. So cryptocurrency is really just a currency at the end of the day. Yes, it has speculation and it has special ways of operating, but it's a currency. You could buy and sell stuff with it. It's not a way of governing your government, right? It's just a currency. But the idea of a DAO is the governance behind all of that. So this is not with Bitcoin. Bitcoin doesn't have a DAO. It's the new metaverse platforms, the new projects that have DAOs, and certain cryptos have DAOs as well. So it's really, nothing has been done with what we're saying. This is probably going to take a while if they want it to happen.
There's another question.
Hi, how do you see the role of Web3 or Metaverse in like self-driving cars or in the robot taxis, which are like tested by Google basically on the application, and especially the governance, which is will that be like decentralized or will that be like kind of a hybrid model?
Yeah, it's kind of the same question. I can't really answer what the governments are going to do. I could tell you what I think. I think that, yes, it's all going to be in a metaverse and they're going to own you. Yes, your bank account is going to be directly tied to the World Bank, and you're going to have your credits and you're going to be able to do all kinds of stuff. But how it's going to happen, when it's going to happen, I don't know. What I do know is that I want to empower creators. That's one thing I know.
Let's empower creators. We're almost done over here, but in terms of empowering, one thing I'm aware is that as all creators that we want to do is we'll be able to have a bigger flexibility working with brands. How do you see this?
Yeah, definitely. I see brands becoming more like creator-centric, right? So brands empowering creators, this is already happening, and I think it's going to go more and more and more. However, I think the creator is going to have more power over the brand in the future, if everything that I think is going to happen will happen.
All right.
So, yes,
well, what do you think is going to happen based on this?
Web3 is going to happen, and users are going to have their own data and their own assets. It's just a natural progression. I think that's going to happen. We're going to ask for it, and we're going to want it.
No, I agree. And what I like is that it's going to be driven, let's say, building relationships between, let's say, the creator and the brands. And I guess we'll, in some way, be able to bypass it, once again, the big platform, the big brother, whoever you want, however you want to call them, that's, always taking a cut out of you. And I guess this is where we want to keep empowering for all the creators here. The opportunity that I discovered for myself, exactly that, is that, for example, Yellow Sea Podcast, as we keep growing, as we're building a community, as we keep educating other people on how things are going, I guess we will be able to, have a bigger ownership to this content, exactly what we're doing here. And along with some of the brands, as over here, Lavalin will be one of these guys come, we want to do more of these things because, we're able to fulfill our mission, which they have clearly written there, espace d'inspiration, de collaboration et d'innovation.
Yeah, I believe so too. So I want to keep it simple and short. Power to the creators. We are the ones that built the internet, and we should own it.
Lastly, before we end this, where are you going with this? Where are you going with Genius XR? MTL XR.
So MTL XR is going to be, used to be a monthly meetup before COVID. So now we're back at it. So this is the first one for 2022, and we're gonna have it every month. So, you know, check the meetup group to see the meetup every month. So MTL XR is the meetup. Genius XR is our service company. We do lots of things, Metaverse as a service. And soon we're going to be announcing something very, very big, Metaverse slash Web3. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be excited about it.
Yeah, I look forward to it.
We're very excited about it too. Beautiful team, beautiful associates, very good partners. I'm very excited.
That's great, and I wish you the best in this, best of success. We need to keep empowering our local entrepreneurs. Once again, you caught my attention because I saw what you're doing, and now I have a pleasure to have you here in the yellow seat to, you know, we begin a relationship here. And the fact that this collaboration that we're doing together is exactly what you want, the creator to work with the brand. And we're empowering everyone that's over there that came to us, that's given us your time to, you know, to meet people, to interact, to understand, to learn, maybe to challenge us at the same time. I would like to maybe someone who's really interested in challenging the topic.
Someone want to challenge?
That's it. Challenge accepted.
What would you do for, like, instance, OpenSea is the biggest. Oh, okay, sorry. How do you keep a company like OpenSea from blocking whatever NFT project is? Like, I feel like, we want to build these platforms, but eventually somebody's gonna just take advantage of the situation.
Yeah, that's true. With every new technology, there's always a bunch of people that are gonna want to abuse it. Just like, you know, when the credit cards first came out, you had all these frauders, and they're still around. So we're gonna find situations. We're gonna find not situations, solutions for these. None of them are hard. They're challenging, but yeah, we find solutions for these. So I don't know if that answered your question. What was it more that you wanted to know? Like, yeah, so due diligence is very important. So, you know, when Robinhood didn't exist, I was investing, and my lawyers used to always tell me due diligence, right? Do your due diligence. So, number one, if you're investing anywhere, spending any type of money, do your due diligence before. If it's an NFT, then you should check the NFT project. You know, check if it's just a pump and dump. Check their Discord. You know, do your investigation. Just like if you were to buy a Monet, right? Are you just going to go buy any piece of art that's just lying in the street? No, right? You're going to do your due diligence, and you're going to buy something that has real value. And now what I want to add is that look for utility. You know, do your due diligence, investigate, look for utility, and don't just buy it based on greed and speculation, because that's what happens most of the time, and we call it FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. So don't do that. Put an X on FOMO.
How do you see, just to finalize this, and the utility? That's an excellent point that I was thinking about. Like, how do you see the utility really to, let's say, enhance these NFTs? Because in this case, because like you said, it had no purpose. So if we can create something, give it a purpose, higher purpose in the real life, I guess, in this situation.
So I'm going to keep it simple, and I know we have to finish real soon. So utility, you know, what is utility? It means something that you could use in real life. So is this NFT something that you could use in real life? That's what you have to look at. I want to simplify it and say, whenever we have the full circle around, so the whole industry that's going to be formed around smart contracts, that's the day that we could start really trusting it, right? So smart contracts, that's all I have to say. That's my answer to this question. Smart contracts.
We keep it simple and stupid. That's it.
Yeah.
I like that. So if we get in any other question, we might go further. We want to respect the time, so it's almost done. So before we end this, and I'll let you talk at the same time, give a shout out to your team. I want to congratulate and thank everyone. Mainly, once again, just give a recall to our sponsor, Lavalin, for giving us access to this space to allow us creators to empower each other. Now we get to share this information, you get to know, to discover us at the same time. Another big shout out to Rosemont, because we had the drinks coming up after the Q&A. Look, does it make you thirsty? I get thirsty.
Now that's a bottle, right? Small bottle.
I want to give another shout out to Black Box Studio Media, better yet, for giving us the space to, push our creativity to the next level. Yellow Seed Podcast. Shout out to the whole team. Mark Good Vision, he's the guy behind our camera. Because of him is we get to do things like that. I want to give a shout out to Marie Soleil for the social media management, because she's on top of it every week. Alec, the kid, for just being the operation guy who's just taking care of everything that we don't have time to do. Give a bigger shout out to Gabrielle chez Lavalin for allowing us to have fun like this. One thing I want to say is that you want to do something that makes you have fun. And at last, if I have anyone, to my beautiful wife for supporting me. One of the reasons why I keep pushing things is because she keeps saying yes to my nonsense sometimes, and you need a partner that's going to say yes to all your nonsense, but rationally, because I tend to go overboard sometimes. If not, shout out to everyone that came here. Thank you very much. I appreciate the love, because now we're back to this physical world past the pandemic, and doing these things again allow us, to bond, to feel human again. Like, yes, we want to be connected on the online world, but we want to be human nonetheless. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, TikTok. TikTok is fun. You should go see the comments. It goes crazy. Subscribe to our YouTube. We're on Spotify, too. If you're stuck in the traffic, you can listen to this. Isn't that beautiful? How to maximize your time. I'll give you space to,
Well, shout out to you, my friend.
Man,
and
thank you.
Keep doing what you do, entrepreneurship. I love that. Do what you love doing. Shout out to my whole team, Rich, Karin, GF, Amin, and everyone else that I'm forgetting. And once again, shout out to Lava Lab. Gabrielle, thank you for having us. Beautiful place, beautiful. And shout out to you and your sponsors, man. Rosemont,
thank you,
beautiful work on the podcast. So everyone here, please subscribe to Yellow Seeds Podcast. And if you haven't checked out the Genius website, go on geniusxr.ai and you will see everything that we're doing. Thank you very much.
Is anyone thirsty? That's a question. All right, good. So we're almost getting there.
I'm thirsty, yes.
We're almost getting, I have to try this. But thank you again for your attention, guys.
Thank you.
We made it happen. Our first audience. You're all creators. You're all creators.